What's up, future officers? My name is Tejas and I welcome you all to episode 23 of iLead. Today, we are going to be discussing a news which has shook the nation. That is GST, the Goods and Service Taxes 2.0. So as we all know, at once upon a time, probably 10 years back, when we think of India's taxation system, the indirect taxes, there were a plethora of indirect taxes. There were many indirect taxes. You would call them as sales tax, VAT, service tax, so many, so on and so forth. Octroi, so many taxes were there. All of that was merged and a GST was introduced, and this came into effect on 1st July 2017. Now, this went on with so many complicated systems. Okay, initially there was a little bit of hiccups in trying to adopt. It was very complicated. Many people started feeling a lot of difficulties. But on this 15th of August on 2025, this particular Independence Day, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, from the ramparts of Red Fort, he made a particular promise. He told that he would be giving all of us a Diwali gift. What is that Diwali gift? A GST regime shift, wherein a lot of updates would be done on how taxes are levied on the goods and services. Having said this, right now, 22nd September, we see that this has come into effect, where a lot of these tax slabs have been changed into just two tax slabs, which is 5% and 18%. This particular decision of a new GST regime has come from the 56th meeting of the GST Council. Of course, we have these two rates right now, that is 5% and 18%. From the earlier, many tax slabs rates were there. We'll discuss all of that a little bit in detail. But what you have to know is, apart from this 5% and 18%, there is, of course, another tax rate, which is for a whopping 40%. Sir, what is charged for a 40%, you might ask? See, the luxury goods, the sin goods are charged 40% from now onwards in our country. So, what are these sin goods? These are the goods which causes some kind of harm to us. Like, for example, cigarettes, alcohol. These are the goods which have some kind of harm on us. Luxury goods, we see that big, large cars, SUVs and helicopters. So, these costly watches. So these are going to come under luxury goods. When it will actually come into effect, the dates have not yet been announced, but we'll have to wait and see. It might come into effect anytime soon. Now, what would be the implications on the government here? Number one, if you see the 2023-2024 consumption patterns, in that case, you will notice that the government is going to incur a loss by the present regime. How much of loss, sir, you might ask? It is going to incur a whopping 48,000 crore loss. But this 48,000 crore loss, it is going to be compensated in the long run. Now, why do I say this? Because this new GST regime would bring in a simplified tax structure. Because of the simplified tax structure, what would happen? Number one, tax compliance will increase. Second, tax buoyancy will increase. Third, tax revenue will increase. Now, what would be the implications on a common man? You see, a common man is greatly benefited by this new regime. Why do I say this? Because most of the goods which this common man is using, mostly when we refer to these people, we are referring usually to the low income group or the middle income group. So this low income group, middle income group, whatever goods they consume, like for example, hair oil, toothbrush, toothpaste, shampoo, kitchenware, paneer, butter, khakra, all of these kind of goods, mostly you see that the tax rate has reduced itself. So let's quickly try to understand what are these major changes in GST 2.0. Number one, before there were four tax rates, 5%, 12%, 18% and 28%. Now there is only two tax rates, that is 5% or 18%. But of course, there is this third special rate, which is 40% for the sin goods and luxury goods, right? So, four tax slabs have been changed to mainly 2 plus 1, you can say. The second point is about the insurance sector, mainly the life insurance and the health insurance. Before, we see that on an insurance, there were 18% of tax. But now, this has been changed to make it into 0% tax, which is a very good thing if you ask me. Because of this, more people will be incentivized to buy insurances. It would facilitate them, it would give them an impetus to buy this insurance in such a way that there would be more insurance penetration, more people would be covering under the social security net, And because of this, what would happen? The confidence that their losses would be indemnified will also increase in the general populace of our citizens. The third point is about food and dairy product. Before it was either 12% or 18%, but now this has been reduced to just 5%. Very good. Okay, so what all products will come and be covered here? One is the dairy products. Okay, so mainly milk, cheese, yogurt, okay, and butter, and along with this some fruit juices. So if you see meat, that is also covered over here. Sausages, soya milk, nuts, dates. So all these things will come over here. Just 5% of tax. So all of this is likely to become more cheaper. Next, fourth point is the daily use items. So when we talk about the daily use items, we see that before what was 5% has now become nil tax. So nil tax meaning to say like roti, chapati, pizza, bread, all of this, there is not going to be any tax from now onwards. We are going to be having pizzas and chapatis and rotis for much cheaper rate. The fifth point is the FMCG. What do we mean by FMCG? Fast moving consumer goods. Okay, so in fast moving consumer goods, you get toothbrush, toothpaste, soap, shampoo, hair oil, bicycle, kitchenware. So basically all these kind of things. Now this tax slab has been moved or reduced from before it was 12% or 18%. Now it's just become 5%. Next one is number 6. When we talk about number 6, it is mainly the medical items. Medical items before 12%, now 5%. What are these medical items? Basically bandages, medical oxygen, diagnostic kits. So all of this will come under this particular category. Next, point 7. When we talk about the small car segment or the automated car segments, basically the small cars, before there was 28% tax on them. Now it's just 18% tax. So you see that the dream of a common man owning a car is going to become a reality because small cars are going to be much more cheaper. Everybody, the affordability quotient of a common man buying a small car is going to become more easier for them. So GST is again reduced in this particular segment. But what about bikes? If it is less than 350cc, then yes, the overall cost is going to reduce. You would see that bikes are going to become much cheaper. Two-wheelers are going to be cheaper. But if the bike is more than 350cc, then you see that the overall cost, it would come under 40%. It would somehow be treated as a luxury good. This I feel personally that it is not a very great move because so many people who are very aspirational, who want to take better bikes with higher CCs, they might miss out on the opportunity because now the prices might have to go a little bit of higher because CC is not the only way in which you can calculate bikes also. It is about the power, right? Anyways, small cars it has reduced, but if we take luxury cars, again luxury cars also same story as bikes. Luxury cars has become 40% tax. So it's likely to become more expensive. So the next question comes here. Who is getting benefited by these new reforms? Number 1, the lower income group and middle income group. In fact, he says that because of this Modi ji, he is of the opinion that the lower income group are likely to grow to such a way that they are going to be called as the neo middle class. Neo middle class means they will become the new middle class. So it is very good for them. Most of them would come out of poverty because of this. Next, the second one is the MSMEs, that is the micro, small and medium enterprises. Now over here, they would be having a simplified tax structure, easier refund, better compliance. So all of this is going to go there. So what would be the risks associated with this particular new regime shift? Number 1, government revenue loss. Number 2, lot of products might be relabeled right now according to suiting this particular 2 slabs of tax structure. Number 3 is all of this tax refiling might become a little more cumbersome. Number 4, the software have to update and this update might take a little bit of time. If we see the 5th point, that is the electric vehicles, we see that the rates might more or less be the same. It will have no big change. It will be the same. Sir, this is also fine. What would be the benefits because of this? See, the main benefit here is number 1, when we talk about the inverted duty structure. Sir, what is this inverted duty structure, you might ask? See, when we are paying 18% for a raw material and less tax for a finished product, Let me give you an example. Imagine that you are paying high amount of tax for, let's say, some nut, bolt, engine to make a bike. But the bike itself, when you buy the finished product, it is coming for much cheaper rate. Let's say you're buying cotton at 18% GST, but shirt you're getting at 5% GST. So does that incentivize you to make or produce a lot of goods in India, or does that disincentivize you? It obviously disincentivizes you, because rather than directly producing everything, procuring all the raw materials, paying very high tax and making it over here, it is easier to just buy that finished product, right? So in this particular new tax regime, this inverted duty structure, very, very important, it has been rationalized. Okay, they have tried maximum to bridge that gap wherein raw materials are made cheaper and finished products are usually on the higher regime, or at least they will be same rate of taxation. So that inverted duty structure would be avoided. Second one is that the tax structures would get much more simpler right now. The input tax credit for whatever you can claim would become much more simpler here. Ease of doing business will increase. And when we talk about cooperative federalism, that is how the union, the central government and the state governments will cooperate to achieve that synergy of growth, that is going to increase right now. So I told you that more tax compliance would happen. What would this mean? That means that the economy will slowly become more and more formal in nature. It would lead to the formalization of the economy. It is also going ahead with the international best practices, because many countries in the world, all these developed countries, they have tax regimes which are very similar to what we are following. But if I had to quickly bring about an expert view here, what is this expert? Who is this expert, you might ask? See, he is the chairman, ex-chairman rather, of the Planning Commission, and he is an economic bureaucrat, and he was a brilliant strategist for our economy also. So he is none other than Montek Singh Ahluwalia sir. So he had a certain opinion, and whenever such an esteemed person is giving his opinion, that also becomes important for us. So what he states is that we have gone in the right direction. It is very good that we have adopted 2 tax structures. That part of it is good. But what we have to aim for and what we have to aspire for is just having one tax structure, one tax slab. So one tax slab, one nation, one tax. That was the motto, right? So now 2 tax slabs are there. We should make it into one tax slab. That is what he's telling. Because most of the developed countries also, they have one tax slab. In that one tax slab, for example, if 14% is the tax slab, 6% can go to the central government, union government, 6% can go to the state government, and 2% can go to the local bodies, that is panchayats, municipalities, etc. Now, many cess which was put on the GST has also now been removed. Like for example, if before the GST 2.0, if I had to buy a SUV, now when I bought an SUV, I had to pay 28% GST. On top of that, I had to pay another 22% cess on that. Okay. Now this cess and everything has been cancelled. Now they are telling no more cess on GST. Straight away, all the cess activity is done away. Straight away, just pay upfront 40% GST because it's a luxury good. So overall, if you see, it is actually kind of benefiting only because there was a tax on that, there was a cess and everything. So the tax on tax, that cascading effect will no longer be a problem. Directly one tax for one product. Again, all of this classification dispute, especially food related items, like for example, parota versus roti, ice cream parlor versus restaurant, all of such kind of debates and discussions and deliberations are also done away with. Now they tell that just one tax boss for all food products. So it becomes much simpler that way. So overall, even though there are little bit of hiccups with respect to bikes and some small commodities, overall I would state that this really is a Diwali gift for all of us Indians, because we are going to experience a sigh of relief, and the middle income, it is going to put a lot of money into our hands. Now again, this would trigger a little bit of growth, and I think that this is the main intention of why they have reduced all of this in our tax also. So more growth, more GDP will increase, and all of that will follow the normal economic modus operandi. So with this, I conclude this particular set of this particular topic, where we've discussed very extensively as to what this new regime has brought about, what are the effects in every dimension possible. I hope that you do not have any doubts, but I'll be happy to clarify any doubts if you have any. Please leave your doubts in the comment section below and I'll be sure to comment there. Until next time, this is Tejas signing off. Thank you and have a nice day.